What is up, everyone? Let's do a portfolio update. So, quick backstory. I'm going to speed run this backstory because I've been over it 100 times. I have a kind of a slush fund portfolio. I started kind of specifically for this channel. I started it with a couple years ago at about $2,500, up and down, whatever. Started taking it seriously about 3 months ago and sharing that progress with you guys. It's not my main trading account, but it's an account that I've kind of decided that I don't care if I lose this money, but it's going to be really good learning tool to trade, show all my progress, show you guys, and actually show a live trading account, unlike other financial influencers that show paper accounts, or they talk about their returns but don't show it. Here, full transparency, showing you everything in my live positions. Basically screen recording too, so there's really no trickery. Okay, well, that said, here's an update of where we're at. This is probably my second or third. Oh, I should minimize myself so you can see what's going on. Second or third portfolio update, right? It's been about, hasn't even really been 3 months. It's probably been about, It's probably been about 8 weeks, I'd say. My first video is probably like 6 weeks ago. All right, but how are we going? We're going good. I mean, if it wasn't for Reddit, we would be cleaning up. My port is getting held up by now by LEU. If you've seen my LEU video, it's the first time I've done a full due diligence report, like a full financial analyst report. I'd done that report exactly 34 days ago. My position on LEU, I got only 43 days ago. It's at an 89.3% return as of now. However, last night I hit 100% return within 34 days on LEU Centrus Energy. The link in the description, what if you want to read it. I've done a full financial analysis about 4 weeks ago, and I went into every single nook and cranny on Centrus Energy, everything. Lifted up the bonnet, had a look, but most importantly, like with the numbers and all that, it's about the story behind a stock. I know that sounds kind of silly. You want to think of like being a data analyst or something like that. It's all about numbers and statistics, but the stock market isn't really like that. The stock market really, honestly, it goes based off emotion. It goes off what people think, people's perception on where a stock would be in the future. And that can literally be feelings. People might have a vibe or a feeling that, say, Centrus Energy is going to be a key player in the uranium enrichment space within the next 10 years. They might not have no empirical evidence or data to back that. It just might be based off my observation. So basically what I'm trying to get to is a lot of the stock market is sometimes you get tunnel vision with the numbers. I'm told you this before, I'm doing a maths and stats degree. I'm in my second year. So it's very easy for me to get tunnel vision on the numbers, which I've done in the past. We're here to make money, not to get the numbers right. And I've got to remind myself that it's not all about, you can't quantify everything. Like if I'm being serious, right, if I'm trying to quantify the AI boom at the moment, the numbers don't make sense, right? But people are projecting ahead in the future what they think's gonna happen in the next 10 years, and they might not have those numbers to back it. So if you don't factor that in, I'm just gonna call it vibes-based trading, right? It sounds ridiculous, but if you don't factor that in, I'm telling you, you're gonna get left behind, and I'm also telling you, you're gonna be leaning more towards the bearish stance, and you might start shorting things, and I really think that's the wrong way to go. My opinion anyway. LEU, I done a full report, link in description, have a read. I went into all the details and staked my claim, made my thesis on why I think this is a good investment. And it's been 34 days, and today we're going to give another update. Am I on the editor website? No. We're going to give another update. So today is the 8th. I only updated yesterday. 2025. Let's just copy that line, eh? I only updated yesterday, but what did we... it's 89.5 or something. Let's just go 90. It's close enough. I don't know where the background. What did I think it's. Well, that was a 7. Where did the date go at the bottom right? It's the 8th today. Anyway, so if it's the 8th, it's only a day from my last update. So it was actually 33 days ago since I made the recommendation. As of now, up 90%. But we hit 100% return last night. Let's hit update on that. Cool. So have a read of this if you're interested in my analysis on stock LEU Centrus Energy. It's one of my best write-ups so far. Link will be in the description. Completely free, by the way. Don't charge a thing. I just do it for the love of the game. You can donate if you want. It's up to you. So I'll publish that. Let's get out of that. And what's happened with my computer? What have I done? Why can't I exit out of any? There we go. Okay, that's done. Yeah, have a read of that. Good read. I've also posted another report, but this one's on how to trade the wheel as a wheel trading strategy. So this is more of a class or a free lesson on trading the wheel. I won't get into it today's video, but have a look. And also give some stock selections that you can trade the wheel on. And there's a video for that as well, which I'm currently doing live on my account as well. So I'll share that progress as we go on. Anyway, yeah, look at this, man. So I first gave my recommendation for this one at about this sort of range here, after it had kind of pulled back a bit. But to be honest, I would have bought any time back here. It's just I only come across this gem of a stock at about this point in time, roughly, approximately, right? But it's just been on fire. Now, the question remains, also, I did take a screenshot last night before I went to bed, and you can see down there a 97.7% return. It hit 100, but unfortunately I was sleeping. Yeah, so here we go. Here's the LEU position. This is priced in US dollars, so that returns about 1,500 Aussie dollars. So LEU, it's up 100% in the last month, all right, which is crazy. With the general market average being 8%, being up 100% in a month is wild. Now, this might beg a question. Should I take profits or even close the position? 100% return in the month. We know that's very, very rare in the stock market, and it's like flipping a coin. That is extremely good luck. Always remind yourself when trading, the average market return is 8% annually, right? To double your money with an 8% annual return, it takes about 9 years. I'll show you the math behind that as well, if you bother to care, to figure out how many years it will take to double your money given a percentage return. Okay, so no, I won't be selling, and the reason is I have looked high and low to figure out why has LEU gone up so much in the last 30 days. Why? There's not been a single compelling news article, company announcement, earnings. There's been nothing, like absolutely nothing. Usually with 100% return, they've signed some deal. I don't know, they've made a technical advancement. They've something, right? But zero, squelch. So I will not be selling, and the reason is because what I projected to happen has not happened yet. I want to see LEU do what they said they're going to do. They said they're going to supply the United States with low enriched uranium and high assay enriched uranium, right? That's not probably going to happen for a while. I mean, we could be looking at a couple years. Yeah, so I'm not selling. Like my goal, I did not think I was going to get 100% return in 30 days. I thought I was going to hold. It's going to be up and down for a couple years, and maybe in 5 years' time, it starts to produce its uranium and everything, and this was going to be a 10x play, but over a long period of time. It has happened like that. And I think it's just happened like that from people realizing how much of an investment opportunity LEU actually is. It's a full bottleneck of enriched uranium. The only enriched uranium plant, said company, in the United States government, all right? Watch my LEU video where I go into all this. I won't here because I don't want to just talk about LEU today. We've got a few other things to cover. That sounds terrible. Yeah, it's a full bottleneck. United States government shut down its uranium plants, its last uranium plant in 2013. They've only just started it back up. And there's only one company to go through. So even if you look at the next generation of nuclear reactors, which are called SMRs, which are going to be rolled out within the next couple of years, they can only take on high assay, low enriched uranium. And who is the only company that can do that? That is LEU. I'm telling you now, when that happens, if you think 100% returns is crazy, there is a tight bottleneck where all their rich uranium is going to have to funnel in through LEU. They're the only licensed company in the United States to produce enriched uranium and high assay enriched uranium. So this 100% return is not what I'm getting to is that's not the play. The main play hasn't happened yet. It just hasn't. We're so far off the main play from happening with LEU. So far off. I mean, the 100% return is just, it's good luck. I'll be honest. It just, people have maybe recognized that this is a good opportunity, and they pump up the price. But the main crux has not happened yet. LEU's market cap. Let's have a look at LEU. I'll move my head so we can see the market cap down the side here. So we've doubled since the last time since I first posted this video about a month ago. I know they have market cap on here. $6 billion market cap. So it's gone from 3 to 6. That's a doubling. Doubling in share price, doubling in market cap, all right? When they're fully online producing and selling all this uranium, it's hard to gauge because we've got no real comparison. There's no company that we can compare to LEU. But there's no reason for me that sits at a $100 billion valuation. No reason. We don't really know the scale and how much they could scale up, but I just don't see that far out the room. It's only at a $600 billion valuation. We can say that's close to a 20x, right? If that was 10, if we're going to round up a lot, it would be a 10x to $100 billion. So you'd have a 10x in share price. That is if they didn't dilute the share price, which does bring a problem when you do get exponential returns. If you're the board, say the board of LEU is looking at the current returns 100% within a month, as some companies that are kind of in the startup phase. Now, we know LEU is profitable. They're making money from dealing uranium on the side, but that's not the main revenue stream that they want to be doing in the future. That's like a side hustle they're doing, which I'm really grateful for, which is cool. But they are still they need to continue to raise money basically to get these plants up and running and everything like that. So sometimes when these I'll call this a small company, even though it's a couple billion. Us in Australia, this is a behemoth, but in America, this is nothing. What was I going to say? It's smaller companies that have massive growth in a short amount of time. The board looks at that growth and they sometimes can see that as an opportunity to print and sell more shares, all right, to raise capital. Sucks for us shareholders because it dilutes the share price a lot. So let's say if you own 10% of the company, if they dilute it, maybe the amount of the company you own drops down to 5%. So that can suck. That's something to keep an eye out for because you've had such exponential returns over the last 30 days. So it's something to watch. I've been in the game long enough to know that does happen, especially when stocks are kind of in the early days. Now, I know LEU's been around forever, but honestly, if we zoom back, and you know how I mentioned they stopped producing uranium back in 2013-ish, that's why that dropped. And it basically, I would honestly look at this graph and say LEU company did not exist from 2013 to 2024, and I'd be comfortable with saying that. And the reason is the United States government fully shut down all its uranium enrichment plants. LEU's an uranium enrichment company, so basically no business from here to here, and then they've started back up again. And if we look back to when they were producing enriched uranium last time, what do we see? A $6,800 share price. Now, there might have been some stock dilution between now and then, so we can't. Look at 6,800 though, and look at where we are today. Enough said, right? But yeah, like that's kind of crazy thinking, because who knows how much stock dilution we've had between now and then. But, you know, what I'm trying to get at is the growth you've seen now might be nothing. We could be, I don't know what's happening there, auto scale. We could be still really early. Now, I'm fine with this pulling back by 50%, going up by 100%. I think it's very possible it does do that until they start to sell enriched uranium at a large scale. At the moment, it's still quite speculative, but investors might start pricing that in early. They might continue to price it in, so it could just keep climbing. That's the two options available, but I'm fine with both. My goal isn't the share price. My goal is the company selling and mass producing low enriched and high assay enriched uranium. All right. Now, I don't really need to care about the share price until that happens. This is all just clutch timing, sniper entry point, bit of good luck on our side. All right. That's my update on LEU. Not selling. That could be up 500%. Stay logged in. That could be up by 500%. If they still aren't selling enriched uranium, I don't care. I'm not cutting profits. The goal, the thesis, and everything I set, all the research I've done, I will be holding until that day. And you know what? And even until that day, if they're making a lot of money, if I'm getting paid some dividends, why sell? And only sell if your thesis does not come true. If there's flaws in your analysis, maybe then look at selling, but there's not. Let's look at the next one down. UNH United Healthcare. So remember, these are all in US dollars, so this is probably closer to a $700 return, which is a 47.3%. First purchased this position about 6 weeks ago. Again, this is really, really good. Now, UNH, I just wish it showed me in Australian dollars. For whatever reason, on the website, I can't get it to change. But on the app, I can. I've been over this before. Sniper entry point. I mean, look at that. I got in right here, buying the dip of the biggest dips. Now, what I wanted to talk about today on UNH, revenge for, is it Brian Thompson, the CEO that got gunned down? This is revenge on his behalf, because I really do feel for that guy. I know you might be thinking, oh yeah, big evil healthcare company taking advantage of claims, and every healthcare company does that. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not. Just insurance in general is a sleazy business. But I've got to put emotions aside, and I'm here to make money. And I don't think if you're a CEO of a healthcare company, you should be shot dead in the middle of the street. It's fucking ridiculous. You know, we should be living in a civil society. If you've done something illegal, he should go to court and face trial. And yes, I know in America it's fucked up because the pharmaceutical companies are in bed with the politicians, and I get all that, right? But I don't think you should be shot dead. Anyway, that aside, I'm making money off it. So am I worse? Probably. So we got in here. Now, what I wanted to talk about with UNH, I'm still going to hold. I just have this inkling that it's going to pop soon. And I mean pop in a good way. Because it's still massively undervalued from its high. It's still down by half. And I'm not, this is like that Apple play I done the other night. I bought Apple about 4 weeks ago and I sold because it was down, and then it went back up to all-time highs and I sold. This I would probably sell if it reaches approximately its all-time highs again. That's the play here. My reasoning is their revenue hasn't changed even after all the drama with the CEO being shot, everything like that, clamping down on healthcare companies or whatever. The revenue hasn't, look, this here is before Luigi Maggioni shot down the CEO. Revenue, 100.8 billion. Okay, this is the revenue afterwards. He got shot here and it dropped here. Revenue, 100.8 billion. Okay, revenues are announced every 3 months, every quarter. So maybe it's a delayed response to all the people crying about United Healthcare and saying they're not going to get healthcare with them now after all their predatory health insurance schemes and all that, right? So you heard all this shit on the news. Okay, fuck, they must have really lost some revenue. 109.5 billion. Luigi Mangione shooting down the CEO, 100 billion. 6 months post, 109.8 billion. Well, let's give it some more time. Look, the share price has been sliced by 70%. Man, their revenue must be down by so much. 111 billion. It has done the opposite. It has gone up since Luigi Mangione shot down the CEO. All the drama, all the shit you see in the news, numbers don't lie, it's gone up. But its share price had dropped at that time by what, 70%? Let's have a look. Let's drag that by, go to the all-time highs just before the shooting. All-time lows, 62%. How does that make any sense? Like, I don't care what's happened with the company. It was the shooting, and it was also paired with, obviously, the reason why Luigi shot him was because of the predatory health insurance company being United Healthcare, right? That being floated in the news caused this big, public argument about UNH and all its predatory health insurance schemes, right? And also paired with, I think the United States government promised, because of that situation, they're going to clamp down hard on health insurance companies. What politicians say and what they fucking do is always two different things. We should know this by now. Their clamping has done fuck all. They're making more money than ever. UNH is still the biggest health insurance company in the United States of America. Here's another fun fact. Most of the time, not all the time, but I don't know if it's a majority, but most of the time, health insurance is decided by the employer. A lot of companies, and especially in the United States, it's the employer that gives their employee health insurance. UNH has majority of all the companies to use their health insurance, right? So it's like a third party you don't really pick, but if you're the employer, a lot of these jobs they might have free health insurance because the employer pays for it and the employer banks it with, you guessed it, United Healthcare. So no matter the outrage, if they can hang on to their employers and the businesses to employ their workers via the UNH health insurance vehicle, it ain't going nowhere. And we've seen that. I've showed you 3 earnings post the whole drama with Luigi Mangione, and it's just gone up, but the share price has gone down. Well, if you're ever in a situation like that with revenue up, share price down, you should look to get a position. Look, there's some caveats to that, but I think you should look to get a position. One thing that's obvious, though, is the earnings per share did decrease. So if you look at before shooting, it was at 7, 6, 7, 4. So it dropped a lot. A new CEO came in, and supposedly he wrote off a lot of costs or something like that in the first quarter, something like that. So that decreased the earnings per share. But the prediction is in the next announcement, because they're written off early, you're going to have an increased earnings per share. Also, we're going to be approaching a year since the shooting, so I think it's gone in the public consciousness, this whole healthcare situation, or it's dissipated. They pay dividends. I think the dividends has gone up to 210, 220, 221. Yeah, a little bit. I have a hunch that this is going to pop. By the way, Warren Buffett got a position here. That's why it jumped up a lot. It was announced that Buffett took a huge position in United Healthcare. I mean, don't trust me. I'm some idiot with almost 0 views on YouTube screaming into the camera who's telling you to buy the dip. I brought here. Buffett brought here. I bought the dip lower than Buffett. I'm not going to try and make an argument that I'm smarter than Buffett. I mean, I just got lucky. But anyway, Buffett has a position, and he brought the dip like I did. But yeah, so I think it's gonna pop, and I really do. And that brings me to my thought process behind this. Buying options is dumb, all right, because you have to fight fatal decay, and generally they're overpriced. It's usually not a good, wise financial decision. The only time buying an option might be a good position is if you expect exponential returns. So exponential returns, I mean high returns in a very compressed short amount of time, because you need the returns to be faster than the options value decays. And whatever, I've got no proof of this, I just have a hunch that UNH is about to pop. And by pop, I mean you could have it in one day 5%, in one day 10%. I mean, that's what I think is going to happen. And this is like probably not good advice to follow. I just think it just seems to keep popping steady, popping steady, popping steady. And I think it's going to follow that trend. Now, will that pop become before or after earnings? Don't know. I think these earnings, my honest opinion is I think these earnings that are coming up the 28th of October, you're going to see an improved EPS, earnings per share. If that does happen, I think everyone can agree UNH has turned the corner and it's on the way up. So I'm seriously thinking about some sort of deep out the money call option. I might do one pre-earnings and one post. The problem is with buying post earnings is you're going to pay a lot of money in implied volatility for that option. Thinking about doing this. I'm seriously thinking about it. Yeah, well, I'll sit on it a bit more. But that's my thing with United Healthcare. Let's go back to the other positions. All right, we'll park that on UNH. It's doing good. It's just a steady climber. Okay, Reddit, still up 30% of Reddit, but this one wants to make me cry because I was once upon a time, and that once upon a time was like 10 fucking days ago. I was up 70%. This here was about a 5,000 Australian dollar return 10 days ago. It's just fallen off a cliff. 7% that day, 11% that day. Yeah. I am still standing by Reddit. My only annoying thing is I'm in too big compared to my other positions. Reddit's 90% of my portfolio, which is not good. Like the swings are, the swinging of Reddit going down. Everything else is shot right up in my portfolio, but the swinging of Reddit going down has really dragged it down. I shouldn't be positioned that large. I should just distribute my positions across my stocks a little better. But I'm kind of stubborn and I refuse to sell. I will continue to hold. I do not think the drop is warranted, by the way. It dropped off. They believe ChatGPT is scraping Reddit a little bit less than what it was in the past. Because I do make some revenue not only from ad revenue, Reddit also makes some revenue of charging for their API, charging AI companies from scraping Reddit for data. I don't want to even really talk about it because it wasn't even like an official kind of report. I don't know why it's doing that. It was just kind of like someone done a study and found out it was scraping less. But it was actually scraping less from everything else. So how do we know that's just not that month? ChatGPT just didn't scrape as much data across the board. So I don't think that warrants the drop. I really don't. So I'm going to continue to hold. It just doesn't make any sense to me for it to be down. It really doesn't. Look at the last revenue. This is why I went on that run it did, because it's just killing it with revenue. Yeah, I'm hanging in. I'm going right through earnings. I'm holding, not budging, is what it is. AMD, I done a video on AMD the other night. it's gone crazy. Remember me moaning about AMD being down by 12%, and I was going to cut that position if it ever dropped down below 20%. Now we're up 27.6% in one day. AMD announced a deal with OpenAI, which the father company for ChatGPT, where they would supply, OpenAI would agree to buy the GPUs off AMD, and in turn they have an option or a warrant for 10% of AMD shares or something like that. It's a 6-year deal. They start buying the chips as of, I think, January 2026, so coming up. And that's massive for AMD. Not on the financial side, but it's just massive. It just puts a stamp in AMD to say AMD's here to stay. The chips are good. They are a competitor to NVIDIA, because AMD was always the Pepsi and NVIDIA was the Coke. All right, Pepsi versus Coke. But this just solidifies that AMD is a powerhouse and it's here to participate in the AI bull run, because it was getting left behind. So it's done that solidification as well. So that's another good thing it's done. Spy position. So yeah, basically holding. I'm really happy about that. I didn't do much due diligence into AMD. My friend did, and I just trusted his analysis. And I didn't believe him until yesterday. Yeah, he thinks it's going to be a 10xer. Tough to say. And it really is hard to say, but I think it give it a few years, give AMD 4 years, it could be $1,000 share price. I don't see that as out the realm. You may think I'm crazy for saying that because everyone's screaming AI bubble now. I don't know, man. I don't think AI is a bubble. I really don't. And you can screen record this and play it back to me when everything crashes, but I think AI is one of those things you just don't really see the use case now, because all you're doing is making pictures and getting it to write emails on ChatGPT. But I think you're going to wake up one day in a whole new world. It's going to be an exponential return. Yeah, I don't know if it's an AI bubble. There is bubbles and froppiness in certain companies that are participating in the AI bubble, but AMD makes an enormous amount of money every year. So things like AMD and NVIDIA, I don't think that's necessarily a bubble. There is ones that are making no money and have multi-billion-dollar share prices, which, okay, I can get that that's a bubble. SPY, I'm just adding to the SPY position, buying the dip, but it hasn't dipped in a long time, so that's just been sitting there. Snapchat is the stock that we're doing a wheel strategy on. If you want to know more about that, check. Oh my God, we had a 5% drop last night. If you want to know more about Snapchat, you can check that out. I've done a full video on how to trade the wheel. It's an option trading strategy, and I got a full due diligence report. You can read that and learn how to trade the wheel. I've decided to do it on Snapchat because I'm an idiot. Snapchat's not a good company. Fucking balance sheet is disastrous. They've always bled and lost money. Who even uses Snapchat anymore? But I decided to wheel it. So I'm short put options. I'm short 2 put options with a $7.50 strike that expires just after these earnings. So there was high IV, high implied volatility, so they were paid quite a bit for those options. And I'm going to wait until I get assigned, and when I get assigned, I'm going to start selling calls against them. So that's my whole strategy. Yeah, not good, 5% drop. Well, do I really care so long as it doesn't finish below this line? If it finishes above that line, I'll keep 100% of that premium that I received. If it finishes below, I'm going to get assigned 200 shares of Snapchat. Snapchat share price isn't great, so that might be about a $1,500 position, which I have the money in my brokerage account ready, waiting for assignment. So it is what it is. I've got a separate series where I'm going over the wheel strategy on that. Okay, that is the portfolio update. So in summary, we're sitting around all-time highs. Reddit is holding us back. If Reddit was where it was the last time I done a port update a couple of weeks ago, this port would be hitting 15 grand. Painful. Anyway, and some other things is I want to do a poll. I want to do another full stock analysis or an analysis on a strategy or something like that. Or basically get the next move in the next play of this portfolio. I've got some things that will be fun to do videos on, fun to trade, and let's just go through them quickly. Sketchy, meme coin, rug pull, pump and dump. I've always wondered, I'm not a crypto guy, let's just get that on the table. I don't own any crypto, never really have. Okay. We all know meme coins can have a 1,000% return in one day. And we all know that there's scams, rug pulls, legal scams, whatever. I've wondered, is there a way to spot a potential meme coin pump and dump and participate in it? Like, that's the question. Is that possible? So I want to do a poll, and what I will do is I'll do a full research report, post it on my website. It'll be the third due diligence report, digging down, and I will do deep research into, is it even possible to pick it before it happens? Well, the answer is, if it was, wouldn't everyone be doing it? But I want to do some more, like, I'll get into the numbers, do some statistical analysis, use the statistic studies that I'm doing to, like, is there signs? Like if I could narrow down a list into 10 that show probabilistic signs that it's going to be a massive meme coin pump, we could spread some money out across those 10s, maybe 2 pump, something like that. I'll do some sort of, but I'm not decided on yet. The catch is it's actually way harder than you think to trade meme coins. They sit on sketchy exchanges. You get ripped off by gas fees and all these fees. To get into position to trade them, you go through like 3 exchanges and they skim you every fucking time. By the time you get to actually owning some sort of cryptocurrency on said meme coin, you've been skimmed by 20%, which is so ridiculous. That's 20% in fees. So there's that. Another thought is explosive stock, deep out the money call option play. Almost sounds like I'm talking like someone straight out of Wall Street bets. But I have done this before and I have mainly been successful. The last time I'd done this was a stock ticker called SBET, S-B-E-T. Full scam company. They're basically the same as MicroStrategy. They peddle, instead of doing it with Bitcoin, they do it with Ethereum. And I kind of worked out that the ratio of where the stock price should be based off how much Ethereum they owned and the Ethereum price, the stock should be up here, not up here. But I knew that this is really kind of a pyramid scheme setup. It's not a long-term play. And I decided because of that, I'm expecting expenditure returns. I brought some deep out the money call options. What I predicted happened. The stock rose over 100% within 7 days. By the way, my strike price was 100% out the money. It's so crazy. Like to think you had to strike 100% out the money with 1 week DTE. But against all odds, it pushed past that. It was a 500% return. I didn't have much money on the line. I only put in a couple $100, but it ended up being like $1,000 return from a couple $100 investment. Sweet. So I could do an analysis on to see if we can narrow down a pool of stocks that may pop off, because if we are going to do that, it has to be it doesn't have to be a stock you like or a stock you think is going to be a great long-term hold. If you think it's a good long-term hold, honestly, just buy the damn stock. Don't mess around with options. Where you want to mess around with options, especially if you're buying options, is if you predict a crazy return in a short amount of time, has a statistical chance of maybe happening, and then you got to get your risk right, how much you're willing to lose, because you will probably lose 100% of that option value, likely, right? So you have to get that position sizing right. And if you're doing this, you have to think, it's likely I'm losing 100% of this options value. There's the most likely probabilistical chance. So, am I comfortable with losing $100? It's like going to the casino, pushing it and chucking 100 on roulette. Yeah, I can lose $100. I can afford it. I've done the rest of my stocks have done really well lately. I can put $100 down. I can put $200 down. So that's the kind of play we would look into. Yeah. Another thing is buy the dip, good stock, bad month. Kind of like a replica of the two plays I've done on UHN and Apple. Apple I've already sold out on, 20% return in 3 weeks. They've done well. UNH I'm currently doing at the moment. That's what I'm talking about. Trying to find great companies you want to own long term. They've had a rough couple months. It's down bad. Simple. And you know what? I've been thinking about these types of situations, like actually getting a stock position, but also adding in some options too. Probably more longer dated, more leap type options. But if you think it's going to go back up in value, could be something worth to look at. UNH call options, I've spoken about that. I just feel like it's going to pop off lately. Like I don't know. I want to do this, but I know with options like you can lose 100. It's very real. If it doesn't hit the strike, you basically lost what you've put down on that option. Short put on overvalued test stocks. There's a few frothy stocks that shouldn't have valuations. One I don't know too much about, but I know what it exists. These are like the quantum computing stocks that are just way the hell up there. These stocks are pre-revenue. They're not making any money. They're just bleeding money, but their valuations are absolutely crazy. $23 billion market cap. Again, I apologize if you own IONQ. I don't know much about it, but I just remember there's two stocks that are working on quantum computing. My problem is I really do think quantum computing is going to come out of Google. It's going to come out of Microsoft. It's going to come out of these already established companies. I don't think these small companies are going to get there. I don't know. I just don't think. But maybe I'm naive and I just haven't done my research. Look at the revenue, man. The revenue is probably from raising money too. I don't know. 20 million, but a 23 billion market cap is so wild. And there's another one as well. It's like these two. And I've been thinking about buying some put contracts, trying to find the most out-of-pocket overvalued company and then buying some put contracts. All right, we'll leave the video there. I did want to do a bit of math with you guys. If you're not interested in maths, just finish the video there. So I want to show you how to work out, most people might already know this, how to work out how long it takes to double your money given a certain percentage. So assume that you invested in the S&P 500 and we know that on average that gives an 8% annual return, right? If I put $1,000 into the S&P 500, and if we got an average of 8% return, how many years until I double my money? The reason why I wanted to do this is to show you how lucky we are with LEU going up 100% within a month. Because this is how long it takes to double your money on the average 8% return. So first of all, you want to set up a function. This is going to be really messy because I'm doing it with my mouse. That's a T, by the way. So you want to do f of t. First thing you're going to write down is your starting amount. So this is starting with $1,000 in this example. We're going to bracket off. You're going to go 1 plus the percentage return. We said 8%. So 8%, we don't want to write that in the percentage because when we are doing mathematics, we would rather use a decimal. So converting an 8% return into decimal is 0.08. So plus 0.08. And we're going to put the t up there because this is an exponential function. That's our function that represents a $1,000 starting capital at an 8% return. So we've set it up and we put that to the variable t. The exponent is a variable t. T stands for time, and here we're just going to say time equals 1 year. So if I put 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever. So if I put in 8 years, would input 8 there, so everything will be taken to the 8th power, and that'll tell us how much money this would be worth after 8 years. But we want to figure out how long it's going to take to double my initial capital. Initial capital is $1,000, so we're going to write $1,000 here. We're going to write this. Now I'm going to simplify this. We know that 1 plus 0.08 is, we'll do the multiplication sign, is 1.08. and we're going to put that to the exponent t for time. I'm going to set that equal to the doubling. All right. So starting capital was $1,000. What's double 1,000? It's 2,000. So I'm going to set it equal to 2,000. All right. So all we need to do now is solve for t. If we solve for t, we work out how long it takes to double our money. Starting capital, double that value, which is $2,000. All right. Okay, first of all, let's get rid of this. So it's 1,000 times that. So we're going to bring that underneath there. So as I bring the 1,000, because to remove it from the left, I have to divide it by both sides. Dividing 1,000 by 1,000 equals 1. So we can just ignore that because 1 times that is still going to be that. That makes any sense? Now, that is then going to be 1. So I'm dividing both sides by 1,000. 1.08 t 2,000 over 1,000. Now 2,000 over 1,000 simplifies it to just 2. Do we got an eraser? Yeah. So I'm going to simplify this to just 2. $2,000 divided by 1,000 is 2. Looks a little simpler. We still need to solve for t. Because this is exponential, we need to use logarithms. We're going to use the natural log, so we're going to take the ln of both sides. So to do that, we're going to go ln 1.08. It's so hard doing this with a mouse, by the way, to the variable t. Ln of 2. All right, now we're going to use an exponent law on the left-hand side. So exponent law is when you have ln to a value with an exponent inside. That exponent can then come down and be brought over the other side here. So we can simplify that just by going t multiplied by ln of 1.08. God, I hate using this mouse so bad. We'll say ln of 2. Okay, so we want to isolate t by itself, so we need to divide both sides by ln of 1.08. Dividing the left will cancel that from the left hand side and it will bring it over to the right hand side. So we're going to be left with t equals ln of 2 over ln 1.08. And so all we need to do now, that is terrible, I need to fix that up. All we need to do now is just compute ln of 2 over ln of 1.08. So t equals, I would probably rather do it with a calculator. I have a proper Casio here, but see if I can actually do it on this. Okay, I can. Ln of, the problem is I never ever use this one on the computer and I'm used to the one on my phone, but I want to show you. I don't even know how the fuck this one works. Let's just do it on my calculator. Punching this in. Okay, let's go. So we want to do ln of 2 over ln of 1.08. So I don't know if you've got that there, but that's it. It's probably going to show it backwards for you guys anyway. So anyway, that comes to 9.0064. 3 decimals are long, so honestly, if we're just going to round that to the nearest whole value, it's basically 9. So there we go. At an 8% return, the market average, it's going to take you 9 years to double your money. We done it in 30 days of LEU. So that just goes to show how rare it actually is to get these types of returns in such a short amount of time. Because normally you're expecting that doubling to happen every 9 years. All right, so we'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your support. Again, I'll put a comment in the comment section. I'll put a link to my website where you can read my report about LEU, where I do a full stock analysis on Centrus Energy LEU. Also have one in there for the wheel trading strategy. It's great for passive income. Teach you guys how to do it. and tell me what you think about my next 4 plays that I'm thinking about doing. These 4. You know what? I may just go ahead and just, for the sake of it, buy call options on UNH. But for these ones, I wouldn't mind writing a full due diligence report on one of these plays and see if we can figure out if there's a way to make money here. Or I just might find another really cool stock similar to LEU. Whatever I come up with, I'll do a full stock data analysis and I'll share it with you guys and you can read it. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support.